Oh, Mr. Simmons, I screwed up when I hit the front brake. I nearly dropped the bike, so I do owe you some push-ups. So let me see if I can get that done. I appreciate your content. Thanks again.
What is going on, guys? Oh, woo! Preloaders, V.I.Preloaders, welcome back. Always a pleasure to have you guys here with me. And you know this, or at least you should. Just a beautiful, beautiful day here in South Georgia. Today's November 9th. It's 73 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. So guys, the anniversary luncheon was a success. It was wonderful. It was great. I had a ball. Loved meeting you guys. The guys that were able to make it. I mean, just so appreciate you guys. And for those that couldn't make it, I appreciate you as well, because I know for a fact that if I was doing this across the street from you and you were available, you would have been there. So nothing but love. And yes, we are going to do this again next year. And hopefully clearly that was a bad string of luck. 70s right before that day, Friday and Saturday, just the worst weather you could possibly imagine for riding a motorcycle. Cold, rainy, windy. Sunday cleared up. We did do our ride. That video is coming out soon. So I was blessed to have that. It wasn't the number of people that were supposed to be, but I was just happy that we were able to do it. So again, everyone, thank you. Preloader Nation, I just feel so much love and warmth. I love you guys, okay? Keep doing what you're doing, being positive, passing it forward, paying it forward. Each one, teach one, all right? Just keep doing that. For those of you that are coming to this channel for the first time, my name's Robert. I'm a retired NYPD Highway Patrol motorcycle lieutenant. I did a wonderful 22-year career with the NYPD. 15 of those years were spent with the elite NYPD Highway Patrol motorcycle unit. This channel is called Robert Simmons Paying It Forward, and on this channel I primarily focus on sharing my knowledge, experience, and training that I received from the NYPD Highway Patrol Motorcycle Unit with you guys, the motorcycle riding community, my preloaders and V.I.Preloaders specifically. And I focus mainly on slow speed motorcycle operation. I want to help you guys be the boss of your motorcycle, and being the boss means that you won't be intimidated by these motorcycles. And I'm talking about riding them slow speeds, 10 miles per hour or less. Motorcycle riders don't like that range of speed, most of them at least, 10 miles per hour or less, because that's when you have to be the boss, meaning you have to be in full control of this motorcycle, riding with confidence, with your feet up, able to make right turns, left turns, and U-turns without even thinking twice about it, okay? On this channel, I also do practice sessions, okay, right out here in Pooler, Georgia, usually on a weekly basis. If you're interested in coming out here and practicing with me, go to the description section. It'll tell you everything you need to know on how to make that happen. I also do private lessons. If you're interested in private lessons, go to the description section for that as well. And there's a link in there for the website, and that's where you can go on and make that happen for yourself. And I also do product reviews and anything that I feel is relevant, that I think is going to be beneficial to you guys in any way. It does not have to be motorcycle related. I am always going to share it with you. All right, guys? Okay, so today's video, I'm so excited about this video. I've been wanting to do it for the longest. Today's video is going to be a two-up video, riding two-up. And the only reason it took so long for me to do this video, now I have done one already. All right, I'll link it up here. If you're, clearly if you're on a smart TV, you're not going to see anything, but I'll put a link in the description section as well. But in that two-up video, I was on Valiant, and of course the tour pack was on it. And I just came out here and ran through a couple of things, and I didn't really go in depth with anything. This two-up video, I want to go a little bit deeper into two-up, and I want to first say that whatever I talk about here with you guys today, this is just the way I do things, the way I see things. It's my opinion. There's a million ways to do things, so just because you're not doing something the way I'm saying I do it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, okay? I just want to be clear about that. So the reason why it took me a while to do this is because the handlebars that I had on my motorcycle, which were the stock handlebars, they were way too low, and I had them push these handlebars up for me. And even so, because the Ultra Limited has that thick seat, and because it has the backrest that pushes me up, now when I'm putting my foot on the rear brake, my knee is so high that if I make a right turn, the right brake lever, front brake lever, is hitting my leg. And when I have my queen on the back of the motorcycle, oh, I can't have that. So I said, I can't do this video, honey, with you on the back of the motorcycle with those other handlebars. So I finally have some 12-inch handlebars. I feel much more confident now turning the motorcycle. So that's why I'm out here today, and we're going to talk about this two-up thing. All right, guys, so let me start out by saying I'm not a preacher, so I'm never preaching to anyone. I'm just giving you my opinion on this stuff and how I feel about it. And I hope that we all understand how important this is. And when I say this, I'm talking about riding a motorcycle, period. I hope we understand, we grasp how dangerous it is, right? And how much more dangerous it is when we don't practice and we don't really know how to ride these motorcycles. And again, if you really struggle at slow speeds, you really don't know how to operate the motorcycle, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I'm not going to mince words. Again, I'm not a guy that puts people down and makes people feel less than. That's not what this is about. However, I know we're all adults, and if you need to hear something, I'm going to say it to you. If you don't know how to ride your motorcycle at slow speeds, you really don't know how to ride a motorcycle, okay? But that's what Preloader Nation's about. We're recognizing that, and we're going to do something about it, okay? And we're going to spread it to as many people as possible. So yes, huge responsibility. What makes this responsibility even more important, even more vital? It's when you put another human being on the back of it, especially if it's somebody that you really, really care about, okay? So what I would like now is, if the person that normally rides on the back of your motorcycle is in the house with you, I want you to watch this video with them, okay? I want you to watch it with them. If they're right there, right now, call them in the room, say, sit down, watch this with me. And here's why I'm saying this, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I want them to actually understand what we're doing here. And I find sometimes, I'm speaking about women right now, I find that sometimes they seem to pay attention better than we do and grasp information better. So if the person that you normally ride with watches this video with you, and you guys get on a motorcycle and you're doing something, she might remember something that was said on this video that either you don't remember or you didn't even hear. And she could say, what, didn't Robert say, blah, 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 whatever it is? And you might go, oh, you know what? Either A, I forgot he said that, or B, wow, I don't even remember him saying that. So that's one reason I want the person that rides with you to watch this with you. Secondly, I think that we take a lot of things for granted, right? And especially when it comes to this motorcycle. And like I said, I'm talking about safety-wise. And I say this all the time when people approaching a red light, they go into neutral. They're taking for granted that everything's going to be okay. They're sitting at a light in neutral. All right, these are small things, but a small thing could turn into something real big when something is not going right, right? I also think that the whole aspect of putting another person on the back of the motorcycle, that's taken for granted too. And by that I mean the impact of the level of responsibility that you have as a rider. I don't think a lot of riders really understand that, right? And I think if they really thought about it and then thought about their level of skill, they would tell the other person, you know what? I would love to take you for a ride, but I need to practice a little bit more so I feel more confident, because the stakes get a lot higher when somebody's on the back of the motorcycle. And I also recognize that a lot of the people that get on the back of motorcycles, they don't know how to ride a motorcycle. So if you're walking around your motorcycle like this, right? If you're shaky on the motorcycle when it slows down, they're not going to pick that up as, wow, he or she really doesn't know how to operate this motorcycle like I thought they would, like I thought they did. But that's why I want them to watch this with you, so that if you're not responsible enough to say, you know what, I feel less comfortable with you on the back of the motorcycle until I practice more. If you're not going to be responsible enough to do that, let them watch this, then watch you, and make their own determination if they feel comfortable getting on the back of the motorcycle with you. At the end of the day, we're all adults. We're all going to make our own decisions. But it's incumbent upon you that if you know for a fact that your confidence level is down here when it comes to slow speed riding, my opinion is don't put anybody on the back of the motorcycle. And again, I know there's people, I've had people say, I'm going slow probably 5% of the time, so what's the big deal? Now, if you're in Preloader Nation already, we've already talked about this, but we know the big deal is most motorcycle accidents happen at slow speeds. And the reason that's the case is because when something happens and you have to brake and you get into this slow speed range we're talking about, that's when these skills come in. And if you don't have them, things are going to go wrong. And why should the person on the back of the motorcycle suffer from that because you weren't responsible enough to tell them, I need to practice more, okay? So please, watch it with somebody. That's the only reason I want you to do that, okay? So please, whoever rides with you on a regular basis, watch this video with them, because this is a team effort. And we're going to talk about that too, because I'm not going to just be talking to you about riders' responsibilities. I'm also going to be talking to you about the passengers' responsibilities. Okay, guys? All right. Okay, so speaking of you passengers, we know that it's a huge responsibility to have you on the back of our motorcycles. You know, we care about you. I know that's the case 99.9% of the time. And we want to be responsible. But we also want you to know that you have responsibilities too. Like I said, it's a team effort. So we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk to you about getting on and off the motorcycle, meaning your passenger and you. I'm going to show you how I do it. You may do it differently, and that's fine. We're going to talk about your responsibility as it pertains to shifting around on the motorcycle. And again, that's very simple. If you need to shift around, you just need to let the rider know that you're going to do a shift. And usually that's mostly more of an issue when the motorcyclist is sitting still, right? And lastly, with the passengers, what is your responsibility as the rider is making turns, right? What is your responsibility? So we know that as riders, we use our head and our eyes. Head and eyes, handlebars, right? As a passenger, what are you doing? Same thing. Only thing is you're not turning any handlebars. So when your rider looks left, you look left too. When the rider looks right, you look right too. Do you need to lean your body? No. You just sit straight up and down. You're fine. You don't have to do anything else. The closer you're sitting to the rider is going to help as well. Doesn't mean you have to be all up on top of him hugging them, but the closer the better. Doesn't mean it's impossible for him to make the turn, him or her, to make the turns if you're sitting back either. But it just makes things easier, right? It brings the center of gravity to the middle of the motorcycle, okay? All right. Okay, now for my operators, and that's what I'm going to start calling you guys, not riders. I'm going to call you operators, because somebody riding on the back of your motorcycle is a rider. You're an operator. You're operating the motorcycle. And when you have a passenger on the back of the motorcycle, you want them to feel confident, you want them to feel secure, safe, and you want them to have a comfortable ride, right? And I'm not talking about your seat being comfortable. I'm talking about things that you control as the operator. And what I'm referring to is gear changes. So when you ride by yourself, yeah, you can change the gears and put the clutch in and out really quick. Not a big deal, right? Because it's just you. You know exactly when you're doing that, so you can kind of stabilize your body and adjust for it. However, your passenger has no idea what you're doing with your clutch hand. So shifting quickly like that, that's not what you want to do with a passenger on the motorcycle. You don't want their heads bopping like this every time you change gears. Nothing's comfortable about that, especially if you're sitting close, helmet's hitting. So you want to make sure that when you're changing gears, everything you're doing is nice and smooth, right? Squeeze the clutch in nice and easy. Let the clutch out slow back into the friction zone and then all the way out. So all of the now, yes, there's going to be some moving a little bit, and that's fine. It shouldn't be excessive, right? Remember, we don't want to do anything excessive on a motorcycle. And lastly, if you have, like this motorcycle, the 2021 models have like an auto hold. If you squeeze the front brake all the way in, it will engage the auto lock. And now you can let the brake go, and the motorcycle won't roll, right? Most cars have this as well. Or if you press the rear brake all the way down, and you'll feel it engage, a light will come on the instrument cluster. You'll know that the motorcycle is now on auto hold. Now, when it's time to disengage that, I don't recommend with a passenger on the back that you disengage it with the throttle. Because just like on a car, when you try to just disengage it, not a big deal in a car, but when you just press the gas on a car, just like on the motorcycle, if you just throttle it, it's going to jerk out of that auto hold. And again, not comfortable for your passenger. So to disengage it, just squeeze the front brake all the way in, it'll disengage, or press the rear brake all the way down and it'll disengage. All right, so what I'm going to do today, guys, is I'm going to go through exercises 1 through 9 with my wife on the motorcycle. Now, let's be clear about something. Can I do all 9 exercises? Can I do it in motor officer specifications with my wife on the back? The answer is yes, of course I can. I tell you guys all the time, the weight of your motorcycle and your weight is irrelevant as long as you're using the proper techniques, right? However, realize the more you lean your motorcycle, the less margin for error you have. So is that the time to do that when your wife's on the motorcycle? No. So I say that to say, you know my U-turn box is always 27 feet, which is plenty wide. That's plenty wide for you to make a U-turn. Remember, you don't have to lean a lot. You don't have to turn your handlebars locking or anything close to that, okay? And it's still nice and safe. She'll feel safe or whatever. Now, I might do some stuff that's still within 18 feet, but that's because, you know, I'm just used to riding like that. So, what I'm letting you know is don't put your passenger in any more risks than they already are at. And I say that because as soon as we get on one of these things, we're always taking a risk, always, right? Lastly, before I set up and get started with that, all gear, all the time, okay? And guys, you're not gonna see me wearing all gear, right? Probably never. And I'm not a hypocrite, but I also know what's safer. It's just common sense. Is it safer for me to wear a helmet or nothing on my head? The answer is always gonna be it's safer for me to wear a helmet. So helmet, gloves, boots, you know, stuff for your elbows, all of that stuff is important, and you should encourage your passenger to do it as well. You're not going to see that on this video, and you're probably never going to see me wearing all gear, and that's the risk that I take, right? I know that if I fall, I'm going to have some road rash because I'm riding a motorcycle with a t-shirt. And pretty much everybody out there that rides a motorcycle wearing a t-shirt, a tank top, some people nothing on, they know the risk they're taking and they choose to take it. And listen, again, we're all adults. I'm not a preacher. So you do what makes you feel most comfortable. Clearly, if you know if you know your riding ability is low, your confidence is low, then your whole aspect of gear should be high, right? That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, guys. So enough said about that. Violet's ready. My wife's ready, but I'm not because I still got to put cones out here. So let me put the cones out and we'll get to work. But before I get started out here, guys, I want to say, please, if you enjoy this channel, if you watch it frequently, if you learn from it, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're not sure if you're subscribed, just double check it. If you pull it up and it says subscribe, you're not subscribed yet, all right? Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, please, and share this video with as many people that you want to help. All right. So on the subject of how my wife gets on a motorcycle, Some operators like to get on the motorcycle first and then let their passenger get on. I let my wife get on first. That way she has all the room that she needs. She doesn't have to worry about kicking me by mistake or anything like that. And then I get on the motorcycle. Your kickstand is more than capable of taking care of that. There's no reason for you to have to stabilize the motorcycle for her to get on. So a lot of you guys know, turn these handlebars. A lot of you guys know that I get on my motorcycle on the high side anyway, all right? And a lot of people say, well, I don't like to do that because I feel like the motorcycle is going to tip over. So this is a 900-pound motorcycle. You can kind of stand on it and it's going to be fine, right? We're not dancing on it, right? Also, we're also not standing on the right floorboard and putting all of our weight on the right side of the motorcycle. Before you put your weight on the motorcycle, you're going to reach over and grab the left handlebar, right? Some people say grab the front brake. The motorcycle is in gear. It's not going to move anywhere, so I don't grab the front brake, but you can do that as well. And when you step up, your weight, see how my weight is centered now on the motorcycle. I'm not all the way to the right. It's centered, so the motorcycle is not going to go anywhere. Now it's a lot easier for me to just throw my foot across like this. And it's easier for me to do that with my wife on the back too. I'm not going to kick her in the face. And if you have a backrest or anything like that, this is always going to be an easy way to get on and off of the motorcycle. Rather than going on the low side and trying to kick my leg all the way up over the motorcycle. You guys know I have bad hips, but even if I didn't, when I was wearing a gun belt or anything like that, you know, you didn't want to scuff your saddlebags with your boots or anything like that. It's just easier getting on the motorcycle on the right side. I know that's something has nothing to do with riding two up, but at the same time it does, because I have more clearance getting on that way than if my wife is already sitting on there. Then you'll see people doing this thing where they got to like kick their leg up to go over it. Again, it takes more energy, more dexterity, where for me it's a lot easier getting on the right side. All right, let's go to exercise number 1, which you guys know, starting and stopping. So important. Did you guys see the the preloader sign? Yeah, it's pointing to me. I'm a preloader. All right, guys, exercise number 1. We all know, as I'm coming to a stop, I'm going to be on my front brake. And as soon as I get 10 miles per hour or less off the front brake, rear brake only, come to a smooth stop. If I need to stay in the friction zone all the way until the stop, 30% friction zone, 70% rear brake. Come to a stop, left foot down, but of course you can put down both feet, especially if you have a passenger on the back. All right, let's do it. Front brake, front brake, front brake. Now I'm just rear brake, back into the friction zone to make it smooth. Stop. Nice and easy. Now, like I said, if you want to stop and put both your feet down, that's fine. Now, again, this motorcycle has that auto hold feature, so I can pull this brake all the way in. Now I can let off the brake. The motorcycle's not going to roll anywhere. I'm cool. But remember, I said, when it's time to move, you don't want to just throttle the motorcycle because it's going to jerk out of the auto hold. Not comfortable for your passenger. I'm going to cover my rear brake, push it all the way in. Now it just disengaged it. I'm going to preload, keep it loaded. Most important part, guys, keep it loaded. Slowly release the clutch into the friction zone, and as soon as my motorcycle starts to move, I'm going to pick up my foot. All right, guys, exercise number 2, the slow ride. Again, I'm keeping it loaded. Head and eye straight ahead. Covering the rear brake. And anytime I feel like I'm going to put my foot down, I'm just opening up the clutch a little bit. All of this sounds familiar, right? Well, so far nothing's changed, even though I have a beautiful queen on the back of the motorcycle, right? All right, easy peasy. Okay, exercise number 3, trust and believe, everybody's favorite. But you know what, we can do it from right here. So we know there's 5 steps to trust and believe. Step number 1, which is always step number 1, make sure the motorcycle's in first gear. cover the rear brake, preload, and keep it loaded. Clutch right before the sweet spot. There it is for me. There it is for me. And then step number 5, just pick up my left foot. As soon as I feel this motorcycle starting to fall, open up the clutch. That's it. Nice and easy. All right, we're gonna go to exercise number 4, right turns and left turns from a stop. Let's do it. All right, guys, exercise number 4, right turns, left turns from a stop. We know there's 8 steps in this exercise. Step number 1, and it's always step number 1. What is it? That's right, make sure your motorcycle's in first gear. Always step number 1. Step number 2, cover the rear brake. Step number 3, preload and keep it loaded. And when I tell you guys, exercise number 3 and 4, the biggest exercises for people forgetting to keep it loaded because they're concentrating so much on the next step. So again, 1, make sure you're in first gear. 2, cover the rear brake. 3, preload and keep it loaded. Step number 4, clutch right before the sweet spot. All right. Step number 5, head and eyes, look in the direction that you want to go. So I'm going to be making a left turn first. So you're going to see me looking at the camera from over there. Step number 6, slowly release the clutch into the friction zone. Step number 7, as soon as you feel that motorcycle start to move, you pick up that left foot. Okay, if you have 2 feet down, you shouldn't have 2 feet down because you're covering the rear brake. So pick up that left foot. And then step number 8, turn the handlebars. So I'm going to run through this. And again, guys, this is what we always do. I'm going to just make a left turn. And like I always say, guys, you don't need to lean your motorcycle when you're doing this. In fact, I prefer you not lean your motorcycle because leaning your motorcycle just means you're putting speed behind it. And I don't want you to put speed behind it. I want you to be the boss. When you incorporate speed, you're relinquishing some of the control to the motorcycle, to momentum. So do it as straight up as you possibly can. I'm going to go straight through. Second time, I'm going to stop at the line, and then I'm going to make that left turn from a stop. Nothing changes. And then lastly, I'm going to make that turn from a stop and then come here and stop. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the right turns. All right, let's do it. All right, so we're going straight through. Straight through. Then we're going to come to a stop. See how I keep my throttle up a little bit to ensure it's smooth? Because here, you're going to feel it more so, that uneasy feeling when you have a passenger on the motorcycle. So just stay in the friction zone longer. You'll be fine. Okay. Make sure I'm in first gear, which I am. Covering the rear brake. Preload. Keep it loaded. Clutch right before the sweet spot. Head and eyes. I'm looking in the direction that I want to go. Slowly release the clutch into the friction zone. As soon as this motorcycle starts to move, you're going to see this left foot come off the ground. And I'm going to turn my handlebars. All right, and then we're going to do it again and come to a stop. And as I'm pulling up here and I'm stopping, that's exercise number 2 into exercise number 1. All right, let's come to a stop. All right, let's do the same thing going right. And like I said before, guys, if you're making a turn and you're in the lean of the turn and then you see something and you go, oh crap, now I have to stop. The answer is not pulling the clutch and grab the front brake because you're going to go right down. The answer is the same as what I told you about when it comes to stopping smoothly. Go back into the friction zone, use the rear brake to slow you down. That's going to allow you to straighten up your handlebars and come to a stop. Let's do that. You hear how when I'm coming to a stop, you still hear my throttle? Because I'm staying in the friction zone all the way until I stop to ensure that I can control the motorcycle. Remember, the rear brake's going to give you control, and power to the rear wheel is going to make the motorcycle want to stand up. All right, right turns. Okay, we're going right through. Nice and easy. stop. Make sure I'm in first gear. Cover the rear brake. Preload, keep it loaded. Clutch right before the sweet spot. Head and eyes, look in the direction I want to go. Slowly release the clutch into the friction zone. As soon as this motorcycle starts to move, the right foot's coming up. Turn the handlebars. All right, then we're going to do it and come to a stop. Then we'll be done with exercise number 4. Now remember, guys, be delicate with that rear brake. So as I'm coming around the turn, I'm really concentrating on making my applications of the rear brake nice and easy, because when you press it too hard, it's going to throw you off balance. All right, we're going to move on to exercise number 5, single serpentine. All right, guys, exercise number 5, single serpentine. Remember, these cones are 15 feet apart. You can adjust it however you like. And if I didn't say this already, I encourage you guys, first I want you to practice. I'm talking to the operators. And when you feel confident enough, then I want you to practice with whoever you normally ride with, your passenger, okay? And when I say that, I mean that. Come out here and practice in a controlled environment where it's safe. The place to try to figure it out is not out there in the real world, right? Because if you drop the motorcycle here at slow speeds, not a big deal, controlled environment. You drop the motorcycle out there where other stuff is happening, somebody hits the ground and then something else is coming. You know, we don't want that, all right? Remember, we have to be always thinking, what if? You have to be thinking, what if? We need plan A, plan B, plan C when you're riding one of these motorcycles. And that's true with a lot of things, but in particular, we're talking about the motorcycles. Okay, cones are straight ahead. Remember, head and eyes, straight ahead. So I'm gonna be coming toward the camera, myself and my bride, and my eyes are gonna be looking straight at the camera, all right? And I'm going to be dipping and diving the motorcycle. It doesn't have to be excessive, but at the same time, I don't want you to be doing it straight up, like I always say. I want you to feel comfortable leaning the motorcycle, because this, believe it or not, this seems like a very simplistic thing, but you need to know how to do this and that's why I want you to do this at a slow pace. Remember, we do everything slow speed because this is where bosses are created, the parking lot, practicing. And if you're going too fast, it's going to be harder to turn the handlebars. Remember, speed is not on your side when you're doing slow speed motorcycle operation, because it's taking up space, number 1. And number 2, it's forcing you to have to make decisions and react to stuff faster. And you're not going to be able to do that going too fast, because remember, when your motorcycle is going fast, your handlebars don't want to turn, okay? In this case, this is you practicing if you have to do some emergency maneuvers out there in the real world. And if you're not comfortable doing it here, you're going to have a problem out there. All right, let's do it. We're not going too slow, starting out wide. Head and eyes, straight ahead. Looking right at the camera. Now right there, I felt myself going a little too fast, which means it was bringing me up to the second cone, the approaching cone, I should say. It was bringing me to it quicker than I wanted to get to it. So what did I do? A little bit of rear brake. Get me right where I need to be, then I can come off the rear brake. So you can go, and you can do it either way. You can either go in and out of the friction zone if that's what you're comfortable with, but I find that using the rear brake, much easier for me. All right, exercise number 6, everybody's favorite, the infamous U-turn. All right, guys, exercise number 6, the infamous U-turn. Now, I didn't do the 27-foot box, but again, I encourage you when you're out here practicing with your bride or with whoever, use the whole 3 parking spaces, use 27 feet. Remember, this is not a competition. Leave your egos on the sidewalk, and especially if you have somebody on the back of the motorcycle. That's definitely not the time to try to do something that you don't really feel comfortable doing. All right, so you guys know the rules. Come in here, go towards the cone on the right, head and eyes. I'm going to look at my camera, and I'm not going to look slow. I'm going to snap my head, turn my handlebars. Of course, I have to lean more in 18 feet, but my point is you don't have to do that, okay? As a matter of fact, I'm going to make 2 U-turns. I'll do one going outside the box just to show you. I'll still be in 3 parking spaces, but I want you to see that you don't have to lean your motorcycle a lot. You don't have to turn the handlebars fully to make a U-turn in 27 feet. Or if you're doing a U-turn on a country road, which is usually about 24 feet, you should be fine, all right? All right, and of course, making the right U-turn, same rules apply. Remember, preload and keep it loaded, guys. Keep it loaded. And you're gonna hear my throttle. The engine on this motorcycle is not as loud, but you'll hear my throttle pretty much the same as I'm approaching, during the U-turn, and even after. Of course, after I can get out of it. But the point is, you need to keep this motorcycle loaded, even more so when you have more weight on the motorcycle, okay? All right, let's do it. And just like I said, when I make this U-turn and I snap my head left for a left U-turn and right for a right U-turn, guess what my bride's doing? She's turning her head too. Left for the left and right for the right. Teamwork, baby. We're a team. And so are you with whoever's on the back of your motorcycle. Like I said, it's a team. Operator, passenger. Head and eyes, I'm looking at the camera. Keeping the throttle up. Now let's make a left one. And listen, we're not going to be going fast because remember, fast it's going to take away space. But now let me do one in the 3 parking spaces, just so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to do it in 3 parking spaces now. Head and eyes. Don't have to lean a lot, don't have to fully lock the handlebars. All right, we're going to move on to exercise number 7, figure 8. All right, guys, figure 8. Just like the U-turn, use all the space that you need. I used to say have, but everybody doesn't need it all. Notice my passenger, she's looking where I'm looking. And we're good. Cha-ching! All right, guys, exercise number 8, offset double serpentine. And again, we're not going to be going right towards the next set of cones. We're always going to be going to the opposite side of it. Head and eyes, look at them. And then as soon as you make that turn, head and eyes, look at the ones you came from. Head towards them. Then head and eyes, look at the ones you're going to go to. Okay, the goal is to stay within the confines of the outside lines. But again, like I said, this is not a competition. Keep it loaded. Cover the rear brake. Use it when you need to. Watch your speed. Lean the motorcycle as necessary. Nothing's excessive in here, and you'll be fine. All right, I'm going to do it going down, and then I'm going to do it coming back right at you. All right, let's do it. Ready to do it, baby?
Yes.
All right. How about this course? Ready to do that? Because that's not what I was referring to when I said ready to do it. Come in here, I'm immediately going to the right, then to the left, hold it, transition, hold it, transition. Throttle was a little too high, brought it back down. Listen to your engine all the time. Hold it, transition. Oh, I'm loving these handlebars. And we're out. I'm going to head back. This beautiful Wilbus suspension, self-leveling. Didn't have to make any modification. Doesn't get any better than that. Wife's having fun back there. And that's it. All right, guys, we're going to move on to exercise number 9. Snowman. Not the abominable snowman, just the snowman. All right, guys, exercise number 9, the snowman. So we have 27 feet, first circle. 25 feet, second circle. 22 feet, third circle. And again, the abominable snowman is an 18-foot circle. Like I said, can I do it with the bride on there? Of course I could. But why would I risk that with her on there? You know what I mean? Not necessary. This is not a competition, okay? All right, just remember, everything is the same from what we've done in here, okay? When we were doing exercise number 7, the figure 8, and I would say hold it, transition. Now those transitions are quicker than exercise number 8, the offset double serpentine, but still you're required to hold the turn, hold it until you get to the transition to make the next turn. So that whole hold it thing, that's all you're doing in the snowman. Get in the turn, hold it until you're gonna go to the next turn. All right, let's do it. Ready, baby?
Yeah.
Ah.
What is that?
Ah, yes. So again, we're not going too fast, turning our head and eyes. Right now I'm looking at the exit where I'm headed to, which is the next circle. Head and eyes, keep it loaded. We'll stay in here for a little while. Get my throttle, steady. Honey, don't get sick. Don't get vertigo. All right, head and eyes, I'm looking at the gate. One more circle. Yeah, see, I usually put the green cones down for the gate, but I don't need it because I know where it is. But here's the gate, and I'm done. All right, that was fun, right? All right, guys, and that's it. That's exercises 1 through 9 with my bride. I hope that this helped you guys out. But I just, guys, I can't stress this enough. Make sure that you feel confident on your motorcycle. And be honest with yourself, okay? Make sure you feel comfortable on your motorcycle before you throw a passenger on there with you, okay? Practice, guys. Practice, practice, practice. I want you to be confident and safe. And that will ensure that whoever you put on the motorcycle with you will also be confident and safe. All right, guys? All right, again, guys, if you got anything out of this video, if you enjoy my channel, if you just enjoy looking at my face, hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel out. If I told you guys how lopsided the people that watch this channel was versus the number that are actually subscribed, you'd be scratching your head too, okay? A lot of good stuff coming from here. Preloader Nation, please help me out. Subscribe. All right, guys? Spend more time being thankful for the things that you have and less time complaining about the things that you don't. I want to acknowledge my brothers and sisters in blue. Please be careful out there, guys, and know that you're appreciated. Special shout out to the elite NYPD Highway Patrol Motorcycle Unit, particularly Highway 1, because that's where I worked, and the Highway District School. That's where the motorcycle school is. That's what taught me how to ride these motorcycles the way I ride them. Of course, they didn't teach me how to ride it with another person on the back, but this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. You notice that we went through all 9 exercises. What did you hear me say differently that I normally say? Nothing, right? Because the rules don't change. And that's why I always tell you guys, forget about how heavy your motorcycle is. Forget about how heavy you are. It's irrelevant. Focus on the techniques, throttle, clutch, rear brake, head and eyes. Practice, 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 guys. And trust me, you are going to enjoy riding your motorcycle way more. And you're going to be safer out there, which is important for you, your family, other riders out there, other motorists, pedestrians, and the person that you decide to put on the back of your motorcycle. All right, guys, let's be responsible. Love you guys. Take care. Until next time. Say bye, baby.
Bye-bye.